Hi Year 2, welcome to a new week of maths. We're going to continue with volume this week, and today we'll be measuring volume using milliliters. So today you'll need some blank paper, a pencil and your partner to chalk to. You don't need to mark the work from last Thursday because Miss Gardner and I have already had a look over it and we were very impressed with what we saw, so well done everyone. So today I'd like to start off by showing you my measuring jug of 1 litre of green liquid, and I want to put it into a different container. So I've gathered together a few containers. Can you have a chat with your partner and have a look, pick out which container I can pour all of my litre of green water into? There might be more than one container. Where can I pour all of that green water into? Now, I've got very, very good hearing, and I heard a few people say that they don't think I can fit my litre of liquid into these. And that's a bit frustrating. And you know, I'm going to have a go. I'm just going to try and see, because you don't know until you try. So, I'll start off with this one. I'm going to have to pour very carefully. Will I fit the whole litre in? Okay, no, I couldn't fit the whole litre in. That's fine, look, that's just one container. Maybe this next one. Oh. Well, look, I'll give it a go and see. Pour very carefully. Put it down so you can see. Oh. Okay, no, not a full litre there either. Maybe this next one. This might be the one where I can fit all of it in. Let's see. I'm going to hold it to begin with. Put it down so you can see, and there we go. Oh, no, that's not a litre either. I'll try this one. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm going to fit a litre into this tiny one, but we'll see. You never know until you try. Okay. Ugh, I spilled quite a lot, and I definitely didn't fit a litre of water into that one. Oh, but this last one is quite tall and quite wide. Maybe I'll get the whole litre, or what's left of the litre, in there. Let's see. Oh. No. The people who said I wouldn't fit a litre into any of these containers were definitely right. I have filled up all 5 of these containers and I still have a lot of liquid left. It's not a litre, but it's still most of a litre. So if these containers can't hold a litre of water, I wonder how much they can hold. So we are dealing with something that is smaller than a litre. All of these containers can hold liquid, but not as much as a litre. So we're going to use a smaller unit. We're going to use milliliters. And milliliters can be tricky to say, so you might need to practice it a few times. Milliliters, milliliters, milliliters. And we write it with just the letters M and L, small m and small l for milliliters. Now I've gotten up pictures of Deans to help us understand, because a milliliter is very small. Last week we were working with litres, and in a litre you can fit 1,000 milliliters. So here we have a Dean's, we've got a 1. This is 1 milliliter. And this here represents 1000 milliliters, or a litre. We know that 1s can get stuck together into 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this picture of the litre has a 10 and a 10 and a 10. And if we count all the way across, we'd see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tens, we know from our 10 times tables, 10 times 10 is 100. So just on the front here, we're looking at 100 ones. But if we go backwards, so there's 100 on the front, and another 100, 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 and another 100. So this shape here, this cube represents 1000. So this represents 1 milliliter. This here represents 1000 milliliters, or 1 litre. So I'm going to try measuring this container using a smaller measuring jug. I've added a label on with the numbers and the lines written in a colour so that you can see them on the camera. Normally this type of measuring jug looks like this, and it has the numbers printed on it, but they're very hard to read on the camera. So I've put a little label on, and the scale is going up in tens. It's counting milliliters, ml for milliliters, and the scale goes up in tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Let's see how many milliliters are in this container. Okay. Just like when we were measuring litres, we're going to look at where the line of the liquid stops and what line or what part of the scale it matches up with. So I can see, oh, this matches up very nicely with 50 milliliters. So this container had 50 milliliters of liquid. Let's try another one. Got our measuring jug ready, and we'll do this container now. There we go. Ooh, look at that. This one has 100 milliliters of water, possibly even slightly more, because the line of the water, well, there's a little bubble there, but the line of the water is pretty much touching the red line for 100 milliliters. So we can say that this container had 100 milliliters of liquid. So let's measure this container now. I'm going to very carefully pour the liquid in. Okay, and I think this is 90 milliliters. The line of liquid is matching up with the red line for 90 milliliters on the scale. So this container had 90 milliliters of liquid. Let's have a look at this one now. I don't think this is going to have 90 milliliters. I think it's going to have less, but let's measure to find out. In we go. So this one, the line of the liquid seems to be lining up with the red line for 20. So I think there are 20 milliliters here. And we've got one more measuring jug ready, and we'll measure this container. Let's have a look. That looks to be almost exactly 60 milliliters. So 60 milliliters were in this container.
let's start by seeing what volume of purple potion Lulu
was
made.
making lots of noise in the kitchen over the weekend, and I realised it was because she had been playing, making some potions.
At the scale.
Now she made a few different coloured potions.
She has made
so let's
40
measure the
milliliters
volumes
of purple
these potions she made.
Well done, Lulu. Let's see what volume of red potion she made. So we'll pour it in. There's a few bubbles. I'm going to wait till they go away and the water is flat. Now I can measure and say there are 70 milliliters of red potion. Now let's measure the yellow potion. She made quite a lot of the yellow potion. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so the volume of yellow potion is 80 milliliters. And the final potion she made was this pink potion. Let's see what volume of pink potion she made. In it goes. Ooh, there's not much. Once it's nice and still, I can see that that is 10 milliliters of pink potion.
Now, the measuring jugs we've been using so far counted up in tens. The scale went 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up in tens to 100 milliliters. But not all measuring jugs are the same. We're going to have a look at some measuring jugs now that use a different scale. The really important thing is to look at what numbers we have been shown on the scale. So if we look at the scale on these measuring jugs, we can see 0 at the bottom, then 5, then 10, then 15. It's the same on all three. So these scales are counting up in 5s. And we can see some small little lines in between. Let's see how many there are between 0 and 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and then it's on to 5. So the small lines are counting up in 1s. They don't have all of the numbers written because there wouldn't be enough space. It would make it very hard to read. So sometimes scales just have small lines in between with no numbers. But by counting how many are in between, we can figure out that the small lines count in 1s. So let's have a go at reading the scales to see what volumes of water are in these jugs. Number 1. So the water line comes up to here and it's touching, there isn't a number written on this line. So I need to look for the closest number that I can read. The best strategy is to go down to the closest number. So down to the closest number is 5. So this is where 5 milliliters would come up to. But this has gone up to one more little line. Now we worked out that each of these little lines counts up in 1s. So I've gotten to 5. Now I need to add on 1. 5 plus 1 equals 6. This jug contains 6 milliliters. Let's have a look at number 2. Okay, so the water line comes up to here. Once again, there isn't a number written here. So I need to look for the closest number to help me work it out. I think the easiest way is to go down to the closest number and then count back up. So this is 0. So I'll need to count up just in the small lines. The small lines count up in 1s. 1, 2, 3. This jug has 3 milliliters. Now I can check my answer. I could go to the nearest number going up, which is 5 milliliters, and I could count back, I could subtract. So 5, count back 4, 3, I would still get 3 milliliters as my answer. And let's have a look at number 3. Ooh, there's quite a lot of liquid in this one, quite a lot of water. Let's see, it comes all the way up to here. Okay, I'm going to go back to 10 milliliters and count on in ones. 10, 11, 12. So this jug shows 12 milliliters. It is time for your guided practice now. There are 5 containers that had some water in that have been poured into a measuring jug. Now the measuring jug has been made bigger here in the speech bubbles so you can read them. I know it's still a little bit blurry, but hopefully we'll still be able to read them. What's interesting in these diagrams, these pictures show a 3D measuring jug, so they show that it's a cylinder, because in real life, water and the measuring jugs are 3D. So the water inside also looks like a cylinder. When you're reading a 3D picture of liquid, you read from the bottom line. So we're always going to be looking at the bottom of this. It looks like there's an oval on top. It's just the top of the cylinder from this angle. We need to read from the bottom line. So have a go at these 4 volumes with your partner, and I'll show you the answers on the next slide. Okay, here we go with the answers. For question A, the volume of water was 30 milliliters. This bottom line was touching the line for 30. For B, it was 60 milliliters because the bottom part of the oval, the bottom part of the top of water, which sounds a bit funny, was on the 60 line. For C, the volume of water was 80 milliliters. And for D, the volume of water was 50 milliliters. For your independent work, I have given you 9 different volumes to measure. Be very careful when you're reading the scales. They don't all have the same type of scale, so you really need to read the numbers carefully and think about how the scale is counting. Is it counting in ones? Is it counting in tens? Is it counting in fives? Is it counting in 37s? And at the bottom there's a question, which 3 jugs contain the same volumes? So you should find, when you've answered A to I, you should find that you got the same answer for 3 of those jugs. And finally, the challenge, I would like you to do some exploring at home and see if you can find any containers in your home that measure their capacity, or that list their capacity in milliliters. Last week I showed you a few containers from my house that had litre capacities. So there was some almond milk, there was some apple juice, that all had 1L written on them. But I want you to have a look around your home and see if you can find any containers that have an ml, a milliliter capacity written on them. I've given you a few hints here of what might be good places to start looking. You can upload pictures for Miss Gardner and I to see of what you found. You might like to draw your own pictures. Maybe you'd like to write a list. It is up to you. Happy exploring!